Alrighty, what's up everybody? It is I, your real American tribal god of extreme, Peter Joseph here, for another video on this beautiful Tuesday afternoon, May the 27th, 2025. Thank you all for watching right here on Metal God 669, brother. Thank you all for watching. Make sure you like the video and subscribe right now. Alright. No big fancy intros, as always, when we get serious. But for our first-time viewers, if you're just coming to my channel for the first time, this is a tribute channel / music-related channel. I do have some music-related videos on my channel, but most of my videos are tribute videos to the faithful departed in the world of music, wrestling, sports, anything else, TV, blah, blah, blah. So, if you're here for the first time, well, welcome. I hope you like it. But we got all that. And on this Tuesday afternoon, May the 27th, 2025, coming off Memorial Day weekend and the unofficial start of summer, everything was, I hope everybody had a great Memorial Day weekend and celebrating the fine men and women that protect this country, those real Americans. How fitting, real American. That fight for their lives and fight for this country of America. So so we paid tribute to that. But today, I just got this news a little while ago on Facebook, actually, and I couldn't believe it. I had to look it up on Google, as we always do with these deaths, because they could be hoaxes, they could be fake. But this is actually true. Ladies and gentlemen, we lost a rock and roll icon. And by the intro and the title below, we lost Rick Derringer earlier this afternoon at the age of 77 years old. I am in total shock. I didn't even know Rick Derringer was sick. But, you could not be sick, and then next thing you know, your history. So, yeah, Rick Derringer, rock and roll icon, who sang that great tune, Real American, which was not Hulk Hogan's theme until after the U.S. Express left the WWF at the time, because they went to the NWA / which became WCW, we all know what Mike Rotunda and Barry Windham became. Barry Windham became a member of the Four Horsemen, and Mike Rotunda became a member of the Varsity Club, with a guy you may know and love, Kevin Sullivan, among others. But Real American was the U.S. Express's actual main theme song. That was on the wrestling album 1, and Hulk Hogan's theme was the rock and wrestling, what it used to be, what it was. Hulk Hogan's rock and wrestling theme was that theme you heard on the wrestling album 1. And then, he had Eye of the Tiger, then he had the Hulk Hogan's rock and wrestling theme, which then later became Real American, which was his third theme in his illustrious career before he went to WCW and had that horrific theme. I didn't like that WCW theme at all, because it was just like a remix of Real American, but just without Derringer. It was just somebody else singing it. I didn't like that theme at all. And then, when he became, heel, he went to the good route. He went to Jimi Hendrix and Voodoo Child, which was, I think, epic. And then he went back to the WCW theme, when he became good again. And then he went back to the NWO, theme with Voodoo Child, of course, when he was Hollywood Hulk Hogan, even when he was with NW Elite near the end of WCW, then coming back to the WWF, WWE, I should say, with the NWO, with Voodoo Child when he fought The Rock at WrestleMania 18. And then pretty much he was like going back and forth with Real American and Voodoo Child but most of the time now we know him as with Real American. But Rick Derringer was the man behind the music of Hulk Hogan Brother, and he also did not one but 2 songs on Pile Driver, the wrestling album 2, which was a remake of Rock and Roll Hoochie Coo with Hogan and Mean Gene Okerlund. We all remember that video. Miss Brooks! You know, Miss Brooks showing her, almost her woo-ha, but, you know, and kicking off her shoes, and Mean Gene looking weird, you know, not Tutti Frutti Mean Gene, but, you know, great man it is, Mean Gene. But he did that song on the wrestling Pile Driver. He also did Demolition for Demolition, the Axis Smash. He did that song. And then pretty much he never did another song for the WWE as far as I know. But really, Rick Derringer, also, he did play on the wrestling album 1, besides Real American. He did, he briefly, I think it was a part of the video for, what's that goddamn song? Land of a Thousand Dances. Na 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 na. He was kind of part of the band, but wasn't really singing, obviously. Meatloaf was in that video. I'm like, huh? Meatloaf? What the fuck's he doing on drums? That kind of, But anyway. But yeah, Rick Derringer, a great man, great singer even before he did all the WWF stuff. And he had his own band called Derringer. And he was still rocking out with his out, as we all know. But yeah, so sad to report that Rick Derringer has sadly passed away today at the age of 77. Alright, let me give you a little bit of backstory about this great rock and roll pioneer and icon. I think he's in the Hall of Fame too. If not, he should be. But knowing the Rock and Roll Hall of Shame, we all know how bad I feel about that, but it is what it is. So yeah, when he did Real American, that was doing the rock and wrestling connection. So Hogan, he got in touch with Hogan, and that rock and roll connection, which just like skyrocketed WWF at the time to the stratosphere. But we get that. But before we even get to that part, let's get into a little bit of backstory. Rick Derringer was born in Salina, Ohio on August the 5th, 1947. So his birthday would have been coming up in about 2.5 months from now. He became interested in music at a young age. Who doesn't get interested at a young age in music? I'm just saying. Got his first electric guitar at 9 years old. I didn't get mine until I was like 18. Nah, I take that back. Not 18. 12. Because I got it right before high school. So that's why I was in a high school band. That, you know, it would have went somewhere if the other 2 guys weren't such dicks. We got a lot of chicks back in high school. I'll just tell you that much. We came in second place in the 2 years in a row. We came in second place in the Battle of the Bands, and my high school band was called Terror Rising. Like, you know, like remember Triple H's WCW name was Terror Rising. We had it spelled differently than he had it. We actually had Terror, but Rising was spelled differently. Instead of R-I-S-I-N-G, it was R-I-Z-I-N-G. With Triple H, it was T-E-R-A-R-Y-Z-I-N-G. So he kind of took it, not really say Hunter took my band name, my high school band name from me, but I'm not gonna, like, sue the guy, but, I mean, come on. But anyway, it's spelled differently, so I can't sue. So, not that I'm gonna win, but, you know. Anyway, moving on. So he got his first electric guitar at 9. By the age of 15, he had formed a band, the McCoys. Not the Hatfields and the McCoys, you know, the McCoys. Which would go on to find success a few years later at the release of the hit song Hang On Sloopy, or Slop Moves. It was... I'm reading this off WrestlingInc.com. Can you actually spell whoever made this article? They put Hang On Sloppy. Dude. It's Hang On Sloopy. Alright, anyway, Hang On Snoopy reached #1 on the Billboard Hot 100, and then the band dissolved in 1969. Derringer continued as a solo artist, and in 1970 he released another top 20 hit, which got re-released on the wrestling album 2, Rock and Roll Hoochie Coo. And then, after 15 more years of success, going into 1985 with the start of WrestleMania and the Rock and Roll Connection, Derringer entered the wrestling business in 1985, like I said, thanks to his friendship with Cyndi Lauper. I wonder, see? Cyndi Lauper, a Hall of Famer, by the way. Not in WWF or WWE Hall of Fame. She should be. I don't know why. She hasn't yet. Anyway, when he recently began collaborating with the WWE, he would produce a wrestling album where he would co-write and perform Real American. But he produced Land of a Thousand Dances and the other hits, Tutti Frutti, and some of the other songs on that great album. I still have that album in its entirety. And I have Power Driver, but I don't have the album. I have it on VHS. Remember the good old days of VHS. Anyway, moving on. He would produce a wrestling album where he would co-write and perform Real American. Over 30 years later, Derringer would produce an updated version of the song, which saw him change around some lyrics because of politics. I forget who actually used that in politics. It wasn't Trump, obviously, but anyway. 2 years later, in 1987, Derringer and WWE collaborated again with the rock star producing Power Driver, the wrestling album 2, as Reverend Slick would say. Derringer performed twice on the album, like I mentioned, Demolition's theme, and a cover of Rock and Roll Hoochie Coo, which he performed with Mean Gene Okerlund and Hulk Hogan. And that was Derringer's last known wrestling collaboration, though he continued to write and perform music into his later years. He still went on tour, and I mean, if you could just look up, I saw one from 2019 singing Real American. You know, can't hit those high notes anymore, but you know, but it is what it is. You can still play that electric twanger like nothing. So yeah, so. I assume, maybe, I don't know, it might happen tonight on NXT. They might show an in memoriam to Rick Derringer. I don't know, Tony Khan will do it tomorrow on Dynamite, or they do it on SmackDown. Who knows? But Rick Derringer did play a part in the Rock and Wrestling Connection and the early years of the WWF getting huge in 85 and 87. Pretty much the golden era of professional wrestling. Oh, well, the WWE, I should say, not professional wrestling, but, so yeah, just a sad day that we lost the creator of Real American, that's Hulk Hogan's theme, so I assume Hogan said something, about it. I don't even know where. Let me see on Google if Hogan said anything about, if Hogan said anything about him. I don't think he did, because I didn't see anything about it on his, on Hogan's, Twitter account or his Instagram account. Let me see, Hulk Hogan, on Rick Derringer death. Let's see, it comes up. Now, I don't see anything from Hogan's point of view. Let me see. No, it would have came up first. I assume Hogan would say something, is going to say something on Twitter, because it's his theme. He's probably going to get the Derringer family is going to get a whole ton of fucking royalties. Because every time you see Hogan uses Real American for all his bullshit. You know, his Real American Wrestling Federation is coming out. All these collegiate wrestlers ain't gonna go far. I did a video about that, and I said that Hogan's Wrestling Federation with Bischoff ain't gonna go anywhere. I still don't think it's gonna go anywhere. But, you know, every time Hogan comes out, guess what song he comes out to? Real American, so So that's pretty much it. So Rick Derringer passes away at the age of 77 today. No cause of death. As far as I know, there's no cause of death. Let me look on different. I'm gonna go on another site. Yeah. Let me look on. I should have went on Billboard, but well, doesn't matter. All right. Let's see here. If I could find the cause of death. Well, here's something interesting that I didn't even mention. He played on Hours with Johnny and Edgar Winter of the Edgar Winter Group. Alice Cooper, I didn't know that. Richie Havens, the La Bamba guy. Not Los Lobos, the version before that. Todd Rundgren, Steely Dan, Cyndi Lauper, Barbara Streisand, and Kiss. Wow, I didn't know about that. Kiss. He's also credited with discovering Weird Al Yankovic and won a Grammy for producing a few of Weird Al's albums. I did not know that either. Wow, you learn something new every day, don't you? Yeah, that's why the internet is such a great thing. Anyway, alright, so word came earlier today via a Facebook post from his longtime friend and caretaker, Tony Wilson, and Guitar World, which I subscribe to religiously, confirmed the news while republishing their interview with Derringer from last year. That's a great read, by the way. There is no word on cause of death. Okay, so, but he has been in poor health. And that's that. So no official cause of death, but I assume it's due to some type of illness he had. Whatever it was, I hope it's not cancer, that fucking cancer, but I hope it's like, maybe natural causes, or maybe it was some type of, not so debilitating, deadly disease like cancer, or like maybe Lou Gehrig's disease, or something like that, but we won't know for probably the rest of the week. But, like I said, rest in peace to Rick Derringer, the creator of so many, well, not one, not two, but 3 big, huge hit songs for the WWF. Real American, Rock and Roll Hoochie Coo on the wrestling album Pile Driver, and Demolition's theme on Pile Driver as well. So, my heartfelt condolences go out to the Derringer family, to the WWE. I'm giving WWE some credit. But just a great man, a great guitar player. And, just sad that, we're still going to be hearing Hang On Sloopy for years. Because that's a hit, my dad even listens to that because, that's old. But, we're going to hear Hang On Sloopy for many years to come. Even your kids will love it. Like, Mr. Michael J. Fox said in Back to the Future 1. I guess you guys are not ready for that yet. But your kids are gonna love it. But, yeah, so, our grandkids and their grandkids are gonna be listening to Real American and the Pile Driver, Rock and Roll Hoochie Coo, and Demolition for years to come if they're wrestling fans. But if you're an old fart like I am, and our parents and even their parents and grandparents still listen to rock and roll Hoochie Coo, they're listening to Hang On Sloopy and everything like that. I mean, just an amazing guitar player. Not somebody like Eddie Van Halen, but he was pretty damn good on that electric twanger. But man, I can't believe Rick Derringer passed away today. But my heartfelt condolences go out to the Derringer family, to the WWE family, to the wrestling family in general. And he's probably rocking out with Jimi Hendrix, with Eddie Van Halen, and Randy Rhoads, and everybody in that great, big, huge concert hall in the sky. Probably singing Real American right now. Who knows? But my thoughts and prayers go out to him and his family and the WWE and the wrestling family as well, doing this such a shocking day today in the world of wrestling and music as well. So, as I always do on my Rest in Peace tribute videos, little bitty toast to the man, Rick Derringer. You are a real American, And God rest your mighty soul. Rock out with your cock out up there in heaven, my friend. Cheers. I know I botched that, but whatever. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for watching. I'm going to be doing some wrestling-related videos for my Raw review, my TNA Ring of Honor review. I might do one more if I have time. Talking about WWE, once again, driving a little wedge in Tony Khan's little heart by having NXT Great American Bash at the same freaking, I don't know about the time, but the same day as All In, and we all know Saturday's main event is July the 12th. That's at night, though. That's at 8 o'clock. But Great American Bash, I would not be surprised if it's the same time as All In, because All In is at 3 p.m. on July the 12th, and we know Evolution 2 is that Sunday, so that whole weekend, pretty much for AEW, was one of the biggest weekends that they were going to have. Pretty much Hunter's like, I'm going to ruin it, and lo and behold, he has ruined it, because All In Saturday was just going to be All In, and then WWE swoops in and says, alright, we're going to have a Saturday night's main event, but we're going to up the ante, and we're going to have NXT Great American Bash the same freaking around in the afternoon where All In is at. So Tony Khan's like, and he came out yesterday saying, it's not a coincidence, Yeah, right. Hunter always wants to one-up Tony Khan, and Tony Khan's trying to one-up. They're trying to one-up each other so much. And usually Hunter wins. But, I digress on that. But we'll talk about that later. Let's just bow our heads and pray to the Lord to keep Rick Derringer, a great man. May his soul rest in peace. So, rest in peace to Rick Derringer. And that's it. Thanks for watching, everybody. And until next time, be true to yourself. Be a real American, brother. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace.